Hello and welcome to the first video here. We're going to start with chapter 8. We're going to be talking about databases. And by definition, a database is software. It's really more than a software. It's a software that combines both application and a system software. It does actually have its own engine. It has interface and it has also its storage. So the main purpose of a database is to organize and of course, we need to enter first the data, organize it, all right, query it, and of course, report the result. As we have been saying all along, database takes data with meaningful uh, input, acts as the raw facts, in order to turn it into a meaningful result, which we call it information. Okay, this is basically a database. Those allow us to have their set of rules that allow us to get the information. So a database is a brilliant software, and to learn a database is really a lucrative job in the market these days, and it has been and it will be for a long time to come. What we wanted to do is to understand what is really makes a database internally. Database is made of collection equal collection of tables. Tables that represent in the real world an entity. For example, a student is an entity, a professor is another entity, a class is another entity. Each one of those will be turning into a table in a database. But also, this is become, since I'm going to link them together, each one will become a relation in a relational database, a relation in a relational database. So we have the entity students has a relationship with the professor. The professor have a relationship with both the students and class. Of course, the students would have a relationship with the class. The class has a relationship with the professor and the students, and so forth. And the tables can be based on three different types of relationship. The first type of relationship is one-to-one, one-to-one. For example, a child rather, to her mother in a daycare system. This is a one-to-one. On the other hand, if I say here one-to-many, if I shift the discussion here from a mother to a child, a mother could have multiple children, so that's one-to-many. Let me go ahead and correct this, one-to-many. State is clearly to its cities is one-to-many. University to its departments is one-to-many. And we have millions and millions of examples of one-to-many. And we have many-to-many in a relationship. And that is where we have, in this example, a professor to a students is a many-to-many. Because a professor could teach multiple students, and the students could be taken or be taught by multiple professors. So this is the type of the relations that can exist in a database. And notice that each one of those relations must be identified with a specific piece of information, as we call it, or attributes. Let's go ahead and talk about attributes. Okay, that are unique in their values. For example, if I take professor as an attribute, the professor has to have a professor ID. ID, and that is going to be unique. No two professor will have the same one. Just like your social security would be very unique to you, and just like everybody else, the professor ID is going to be unique to each professor. Of course, we'll have last name, we'll have first name, and we'll have additional information, maybe even the department that professor teaches at. In this case, the unique value of the professor ID is going to act as the primary key. So we need to identify that the primary key for the professor relation in the database, it has to be the professor ID. We could come up with something else, like ask them about their social security, but that would be a better choice because we won't really store it by social security. Anyway, if you take a look at any of the class students ID would be a good candidate for the student's primary key. If we're talking about the state, the state name or the state abbreviation would be a good candidate, but we will choose the state abbreviation because it's much better choice than the state name because we don't have to type as much letters, and still the state abbreviation will assure the uniqueness of that primary key. This is basically a very quick introduction to a database, and we're going to continue with other videos or to talk about more about the attributes in relationship to the entity, because each entity is going to be described by a list of attributes that are well defined and well recognized in order to solve a business problem more than anything else. Thank you for watching. We're going to continue in the next video very soon.